Venture out to the village of Monroe for everything you need this holiday season. Dashing through Monroe for coffee and a bite. Can't forget the shovel and sled in case it snows tonight. Fresh baked bread, Christmas trees, poinsettias for the wife. Cookie baskets full of fun and cakes that will delight. Accessories, handmade wreaths, clothing just your size. Wonderful place to holiday shop, Monroe is always bright. Venture out to Monroe this holiday season.
Okay, if we could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right.
All right, I'm going to give up on that. Thank you. I appreciate that.
So I'm just going to take need a motion to open our meeting.
I'd like to make that motion.
Member Umberto, second. Seconded. Member Kelly, seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's open. Roll call for attendance. Member Allen? Not here. Member Boucher, present. Member Hefnecker? Present. Member Iannucci?
Present.
Member Carlich?
Present.
Member Kelly? Present. Member Umberto?
Present.
And tonight, professionals-wise, we have Attorney Cassidy.
Present.
And from H2M, we have Sean Peters. Present. And I don't think Andrea is here, right? I didn't see her. Is she coming? No. Okay, so, all right.
She sent her memo.
Yep, I saw that. I just didn't know if she was going to make an appearance. Okay, so first on our agenda is the public hearing for the Route 208 Business Park. And so I'm going to ask Kurt Rother if he would just maybe give a synopsis for those that are here from the public on the project itself. And then after we do that, and Kurt, you're going to come up here to this microphone. You can move the microphone if you need to. But as he does that, we're going to send a pad around. If you are going to, okay, there we go. If you are going to make a comment tonight, which we hope you will, we'd just ask you to put your name on the pad. It's going to make it easier when we do the spelling later for things. And then when you do come up to the microphone, if you would just state your name and make your comments.
Mr. Chair, before Mr. Rocker starts, if we can just read the public notice into the record.
Yes, so I think, can you do that, Rhonda? Read the public notice into the record for us? And then while Rhonda's looking for that, just so everyone knows, the role of the planning board during the public hearing is not, we're not going to respond to the comments. We're going to write all the comments down. So we take everything you say, and we then will talk to the applicant about those things if we haven't already covered them. So, and then, from there, we'll be able to guide that. So
They're on the planning board computer, which is the desktop upstairs. Unfortunately, they're not on the laptop.
Okay. Did we receive proof of publication?
Correct, we did.
We did, and we received proof of mailings, correct?
Correct.
Thank you. And then if I may have a motion to open the public hearing?
Yes, so we need a motion to open the public
I'll
hearing.
make a motion to open the public hearing for 208 Business Center.
Member Umberto, followed by Member Kelly. All in favor?
Aye.
And so, okay, so Kirk, you're up.
Facing the public?
Sure, yes.
Are you folks here for this? The application before the board is for a site plan approval for a 5-acre parcel of land that fronts on Gilbert Street Extension, New York State Route 208. It's bounded on the north by Town of Monroe Park and Orange Mountain Lake, bounded on the west by the YMCA. It's 4 existing tax parcels. It's in the general commercial zoning district. The 2 parcels on Gilbert Street Extension are currently improved by single-family homes. There's 1 lot on Route 208 that is what we know with
Thank you.
Fix-Its lot. And then there is a larger vacant parcel of land. That's the property to the north abutting Monroe. Switching to the proposal, it's a proposed single building with a 47,500 square foot footprint. Ground floor to be used for retail uses. There's a 25,000 square foot second story. Sorry. That plan was a little busy. It's almost there. Access to the site will primarily be off of New York State Route 208 through a signalized intersection. Associated with this project are substantial traffic improvements to Route 208, Gilbert Street, and surrounding road network. The traffic engineer is here tonight to discuss that with the public and the board. DOT has been involved in this for several years now. 260 plus or minus parking spaces proposed. Water sewer consumption roughly 7,000 gallons per day. Connections will be to existing utilities in Gilbert Street. We've been in contact with the water and sewer departments to confirm that there's available capacity. Stormwater management will be via primarily underground stormwater management on the site. And I think we'll retain both our 1 10-year storm events with no discharge off-site through infiltration, and the 100-year storm is below pre-developments. There's a landscaping plan that's been prepared by a landscape architect. The code requires that 10% of the site be kept as landscaping, and it's about half acre, 20,000 square feet or so. I'll leave it at that.
Good?
And before you go, one quick thing. I think the board has actually seen these. Are any, I guess. These are renderings of what the building
Oh.
looks like. This is the main entrance, and it's kind of looking from the Gilbert Street side of the property.
Hey, Kirk, could we have that one up there? Could you just, yeah, bring it up here for a sec. Yep. Back here for a second.
I'm sorry, could you, before you start, could you state your name, please?
Certainly. Ken Worsted with Creighton Manning Engineering, traffic consultant.
Ken, I should have mentioned this before, but you can take that mic out if you want, because it's really for the video people hearing it there and so forth.
Very good, thank you. Just for the board's reference, these are all figures that are in part of the traffic study, so I'll just flip through them for the presentation here. So we analyzed the project, and this graphic is just basically the study area. Here's the project site. It's next to the YMCA. There's the mobile station, which we call kind of the triangle area through here, and the project is right off, right in the wooded area off the west side of that intersection. We looked at 8 intersections surrounding that area relative to traffic. We went through and to estimate the impacts. We counted the cars that were going through these intersections under existing conditions, and then we had to project out what those conditions were going to be in the future. After we estimated the traffic that was generated in the area before the project opens, we had to estimate how much traffic this project is going to generate. We had started this about 4 years ago when the project was a little bit of a different size, but because the analysis was so involved, we kept that original assumption back in, at that time, which was 80,000 square feet. I believe it's changed a little bit and gotten a little smaller, but we used that analysis throughout our project. Now, when we talk about a project generating traffic, it's people who are coming for the purpose of visiting that facility. That's a trip there, it's a trip home. But some of that traffic is generated by people who are just driving by on the street. I'm on my way home, I decide I need to pick up something on the way home. I'm gonna pull in, pull out, and then continue home. That's called a pass-by trip. Those are trips that are already passing by the site. They're there normally, but today they decided to go in and come back out. So we took credit for both of those. In the end, it equates to about 230 trips in the morning peak hour as new trips. It's about 440 in the afternoon. That's the morning commuter time and the afternoon commuter time. And then on a Saturday, we had about 500 trips for that. And then we gave a comparison of some other size square footages for the facility. Now that we know how much traffic the project is generating, we have to distribute it somewhere. Now, they're not all going to go in one direction, so we looked at the existing distribution of traffic through that area and estimated the direction each of those trips are going. So roughly, we had about 25% coming from, I'll say, the village of Monroe, off of to the, or 17M to the southeast, about 5% from 17M coming off from the southwest. And then we had about 15% off of Main Street, 25% from Scunnamunk, and then kind of the remainder out here from Orange and Rockland and Route 208 from the north. Once we had that information, we can just do the math. Take our trip generation, apply it by those percentages, and that applies, that results in the number of trips that are getting added to these roadways in specific intersections. So the numbers all kind of range through here. This is all in the traffic study, but these numbers here under this figure 3.3 is our primary trip assignment. These are those new trips that are coming from the different directions throughout the site. Then it's basically just math. We take the traffic volumes that we had before the project, the traffic volumes generated by the project, we add them together, and this gives us our future traffic volumes after the project is open. So we've got site driveways here, we've got an access out to 208, North Main Street kind of area, and then a driveway coming out to Gilbert Street, which ties into this part of 208, which is Scunnamunk Road. And then we distributed that traffic throughout all the study area intersections. Now, it doesn't take you a traffic engineer to tell you that traffic is bad out here, it's congested. Part of the reason is that intersection, the signal that's there right now operates at one leg at a time. So everything goes really slow through there. To mitigate the impacts of this project, but also to clean up and improve some of that existing congestion through there, we looked at an alternative that essentially takes the what is now kind of a little slip road that goes around the traffic light as you come into town, and widen that to become a two-way intersection. So as everyone knows, there's a lot of traffic coming up Scunnamunk from 17M. It comes up to that existing traffic light, it turns left, it comes up the road, goes up to the highway. And on the opposite direction, it comes down and uses that little slip ramp. Well, that's part of the reason why this is backing up so much in the afternoon, is that it's all got to go through that single intersection and make that left turn. And that left turn only gets to go during its turn. You know, approach 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it comes back, and then it can go again. So to remove a lot of the volume out of that intersection, making this road two-way brings it out and through and bypasses that intersection. It's a bit more problematic. You've got a gas station right in the middle of that with driveways on every approach to it. You also have a little cut through between the little slip road and North Main Street where people will use that to make a U-turn if they come out of the other gas station. They come down to that and make a U-turn to come back out. So this geometry, these improvements, right now Gilbert Street comes in at a very unusual alignment. It's difficult to come out of that location, so the YMCA can back up through here, trying to come through. So the improvements of a traffic signal there and the one up at North Main where it would hook into the 208 Business Center would be improvements through there. Once we came up with this new geometry, we analyzed those conditions, and the analysis really results in a report card, if you will, for the intersections. And A is really great, there's low delays, and F is failing. It's taken a long time, multiple cycles to get through there generally. So with those improvements, we go from namely the North Main Scunnamunk intersection from E's and F's to A's and B's during that time, or through that, I'm sorry, D's here in the AM and the PM peak hour, and on the Saturday it's a C. So we see a letter grade or 2 improvement in that. And then the Gilbert Street extension, that improves with going to a traffic signal. The other intersections generally stay the same. The slip ramp doesn't change too much. The U-turn essentially gets rid of, it goes away because it won't exist anymore. And everything else is pretty well consistent through there. So that's an overall aspect of this. We have been working with DOT since 2019 to review this. We've modeled it, submitted it to them. They've reviewed it, given us comments back. The village's traffic consultant, Andrea from Kimley Horn, has also reviewed the analysis, provided feedback, and we've gone through that analysis or that review process for the last couple of years. And we've gotten to a point where DOT is comfortable with where the improvements are shown and what has been offered here. So hopefully that wasn't too long, but that's an overview of the traffic.
No, I appreciate that, Ken. And I know Andrea Connell, who is our traffic consultant from Kimley Horn, has just arrived, and I just didn't know if you wanted to add anything to it. I know Andrea has reviewed everything that Creighton Manning did, so if there's anything you'd like to add to it, Andrea, that'd be great. And if you do, come up to the microphone.
Yes, Connel. I'm Andrea Connell with Kimley Horn, and we did review, and we have been reviewing the studies that have been done for this project since 2019, and pretty much Ken, summarized it fairly well. Our memo, we did review some of the technical aspects of it, so we do have a few issues that need to be addressed in the FEIS. One of them being the trip generations. We found the pass-by credit to be a bit high. And there are a few other things that need to be cleaned up for that, but in general, we did find that that triangle improvement concept will mitigate their impacts in that area. So it's definitely something needed in order for the project to go forward.
Right, and what was I going to say there? So you received, Kirk, the report, right? Or Ken, right, from them? Okay, perfect. Excellent.
So
Thank you, Andrea. Yep, thank you. So, yeah, so is anything else that the applicant wants to say, or anybody else to speak for you guys?
Unless you have something you specifically like us to discuss.
No, I'd like to, then, if that's the case, just to, oh, yep.
Was the plan to have that mitigated before construction begins, as far as that area?
It's got to be, yeah. The traffic has to be dealt with before a shovel goes in the ground.
I don't think we've gotten that far to talk about the construction phasing of it.
Gotcha.
But that'd be part of, overall the resolution
Conditions.
of approval and everything else as we go through there. It might be a developer's agreement, et cetera, so.
Right. Okay, so at this time, I want to open it up for the public to comment, and again, if you do, just please put your name on the pad and come up to the microphone, and we'd love to hear from you. And Ross, if you give your full name and spellings, just
Got it.
perfect.
So I'm Ross Maselli, R-O-S-S, last name Maselli, M-I-C-E-L-I. So I'm the Chief Executive Officer for the YMCA of Middletown. The YMCA of Middletown operates the South Orange Family YMCA, located at 45 Gilbert Street Extension. Some of you may recall, I was the Executive Director of SOFI in its opening of 2011 until I was appointed the COO in 2020 and now the CEO. We have some significant concerns regarding the proposed plan and its impact to the property, our YMCA members, and of course our tenants. I want to state we're not opposed to the development of this adjoining property. We understand the development of this property will occur in some shape or form. We ask the board to please require modifications to the plan and the environmental impact statement to address our concerns, which I'm going to get into in a little bit. We believe that the developer has the right to develop his property, just not at the expense of other property owners and our business. I wrote some things down, so it may sound like I'm reading, but I want to make sure that I don't miss anything this evening. Our engineer, Tom Ollie, has another meeting this evening. Otherwise, he would be here representing our Y and be up here instead of me. So we have some traffic concerns. Everybody, for the most part, probably recalls, or at least some of you who are on this board, the Y has been concerned about the property and had an alternative access proposal. The DEIS and the site plans appear to leave the reconstruction of Route 208 to the state, the county, town, and the village of Monroe. We firmly request that those improvements be made before this project is allowed to open for business. It seemed like the board used the statement, you know, before a shovel goes in the ground, so that's happy to hear that. Any increased traffic congestion obviously is going to severely impact our operations, as well as those from our tenants who happen to be Kelly's Party Rental and Inspire for Kids. The proposed traffic circulation will bring all truck and traffic onto Gilbert Street Extension rather than the main entrance on 208. The traffic circulation diagrams utilize an undersized design vehicle. The vehicle tracking used was a WB40 semi-truck versus the conventional WB67 semi-truck. The WB40 design vehicle uses an overall length of 45 feet 6 inches, a trailer length of 33 feet, and an overall width of 8 feet. This is typical for city delivery vehicles, not over-the-road trucks. The WB67 design vehicle uses an overall length of 73 feet 6 inches, a trailer length of 53 feet, and an overall width of 8 feet 6 inches. Assuming that that portion of the building will be used for a grocery store, frequent large volumes of groceries will be delivered to the store using typical over-the-road semi-trailers. The operator of a business is generally not in control of the type of truck used by its independent haulers. We have concerns with the proximity of the truck loading docks to the Inspire playground. In addition, school buses use the entirety of the north face of the building for drop-off and pickup for our students. The entrance into the school is about 60 feet from the corner near the playground. We believe that the loading areas can be configured differently so that they do not pose a danger to Inspire nor our Y. Inspire has operated in this location longer than the YMCA. The loading dock face is only 135 feet from the property line and the existing playground, and that's a concern. The fronts of the idling trucks will only be 55 feet from the playground. And we know that trucks are not supposed to idle, but we all know they do, unless police are not there to monitor. The proposed pavement elevation is virtually the same as our playground. It's the same elevation. Trucks could plow into the playground without any protections whatsoever. Inspire students are special needs students, and a lot of them have sensory issues. They're sensory sensitive. We're concerned with idling truck fumes, noise, lights, and so forth. This is going to impact their playground and likely the drop-off area for the entrance. The plan illustrates no form of physical barrier to protect our students in the playground or the parking lot. And the plans do not include any means of noise mitigation. Again, I stress truck noises, backup alarms, and other similar noises which will impact the students. We're concerned with the excavation and blasting. The site plan illustrates up to 12 feet of rock removal adjacent to the Y property. The DEIS indicates that blasting may be performed for rock removal. The DEIS states that the adjacent property owners must request a pre-blast survey. This places the burden on the adjacent owners, not the developer. There's no mechanism for informing the adjacent owners that blasting will be occurring. This is unfair, again, to the adjoining property owners. Excavation, including rock removal, is proposed right up to our property line. Question, how can this be feasible without impacting on our property? Our building is less than 21 feet from the property line where the deepest excavations are proposed. Impacts during construction, that's another concern. We anticipate that our property, our members, and our tenants will be impacted during construction. We're concerned with dust control. What's going to be done to control dust during construction? All of our air handlers and our, our screens in there. Many of our air handling units make up air units, and they're close in proximity to the proposed construction activity. We're going to be forced to replace those air filters much more frequently. It's going to impact our staff, our members, and of course, our tenant parked vehicles. Dust impact on the students and member outdoor activities, including the use of our playground that's used for our Child Watch as well as Inspire.
Which is used for?
Activities and various, different types of games and stuff like that. You're welcome. Noise impacts on Inspire students. Vibration impacts to the students and members. Traffic impacts during construction. These limit the use of the Gilbert Street extension. Maximize the use of the Route 208 main entrance. Concerned with potential damage to the YMCA building and its property. We have some additional concerns that we'll be forwarding to the board in writing prior to the close of this public hearing period. As I said earlier, we are not opposed to the development of the adjoining property. We understand the development of the property will occur. We ask the board to require modifications to the plan and the environmental impact statement to address our concerns. We're more than happy and willing to sit down with the board as well as the project sponsors to address our concerns. Given this is the first public hearing, again, we had to scramble here last minute to read through a lot of this. We request and encourage the notion of being given ample time to finish also reviewing the DEIS in detail, as well as the opportunity to bring any other concerns to the planning board that our engineer feels may present an issue. I thank you for this opportunity and for listening to me tonight, and appreciate all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ross. Appreciate the comments.
Thank you.
What's that?
There's, just so everybody's aware, under secret, there's a mandatory, even if we close tonight, there's a mandatory period. The public notice says a minimum of 20 days, we can make it longer, but a minimum of 20
Right.
days to submit written response. So we may not,
So we can honor,
we can honor that, it would be in writing, it may not be oral, but it would be in writing.
Right. Okay. Yeah, it's around the holiday time. I mean, everyone's going to be going crazy. It'll be a tough time.
Yeah, so is that what we're talking, a 17-day?
No, so,
The minimum
I
is
did look
20.
at the public hearing, I did
So the
review
minimum is
public
20.
hearing.
But I mean.
It is 20, yeah.
You can go longer.
Is there an hour limit? Because frankly, I mean, this time of year, I'm looking at January 6th. That's me.
What's the line for February? As far as the, well, notice for the timetable for getting the comments back and everything else? But maybe have to go to March for the next, to consider.
The submission
Mhm.
deadline, would be right before the end of, would be right at the end of January. We haven't set that calendar yet.
I sent you a draft.
I saw the draft.
Okay.
We have to discuss that, but,
Right.
so you could make it theoretically early in January.
January, yeah. I mean, it is a little bit difficult with the holidays.
But
I agree.
is there anyone else to speak?
Yep. Do we have anybody else from the public that would like to make comment? Okay. So I think what we need to do is we have to set, let me just see here, come back to my. So I think, Elizabeth, you sent us a resolution, the board members all received a draft resolution.
Not on this,
Oh, not on this, that one wasn't there?
No, so you have, your two options are to close the public hearing
Or continue it?
or continue the public hearing. If you close the public hearing, you would set a timeframe for receipt of written comment, which is required by seeker.
Hmm?
Why don't we just continue this till the next time?
Yeah, we can continue it.
The only thing with continuing it is if you continue it to, if you could continue it to our December meeting, although I note that we have one member in the audience. It would be the 20 or 20 plus, how many, ever that is, after. So the longer you continue it, it pushes out that time frame.
Right.
So.
For comment.
For written comment.
Mhm.
So you can close subject to the written comment period.
No, yeah, no, we understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to continue it.
Not gonna start until we close.
But,
The
correct,
time
the
frame
written,
is
the
not
written
gonna
comment
be
period
closed.
doesn't.
Right, and then you set the time limit anyway.
That's right, so.
So-
I still think we ought to just, continue. That's my thought.
Okay. How do the other board members feel about continuing? And that would go to December meeting, which would be the 11th, I think. So it's about 10 days, 12 days? Something like that, 13. So we can continue it till then. And then-
These learning centers,
They're in December,
same day as
the 11th. Yeah, but this is just, yeah, it would be.
If I could just pipe up with one thing? Sure. Steve Marino, Tim Miller Associates.
Mhm.
I'm taking John Dahlgren's place tonight. I know he's been before the board.
Okay, yeah.
And just as a reminder of where we are, if we do close the public hearing tonight and you give how much time for written comment, all that means in this process is that we then get all the comments. There's the comments that were given tonight, whatever comments the board and the board's consultants have. Then that just comes back to us, and we take however much time we need to prepare the FEIS. So that doesn't start any kind of clock in terms of needing decisions, in terms of needing whatever happens next. That just is an opportunity for us to get comments back from you and then start doing the next piece of work that we need to do. So whether we get our comments in December or in January or whenever it is, that just means it comes back to us and then we start moving on from there, so.
No, understood.
Yeah, we understand.
I think he wants to consult with the engineer and come back.
Right, if you wanted, your engineer to, he could do it, he could do it written.
The only thing I would suggest is that, given the number of people in the room and given, we don't have a notice issue, we won't have really much time. If we had a concern that people didn't get notice and things like that, we would continue the public hearing. I don't know that concern is present here. So if we, extending it, what our meeting is the 11th,
Mhm.
I don't know that you're going to get any additional participation
Mhm.
if that's the concern. They still have the opportunity for the written comment I don't think, given everybody's schedule, is there an objection if we go out to January for written comment?
I don't believe so, no. If their engineer needs 20 or 30 days more for the written part, that certainly we don't have an objection to that.
So just for the board to consider on our end, for us to physically be here, we have a stenographer, we have our whole team, several of which drive from Albany. So if your consultant is able to do it in writing, it doesn't have to physically stand here in front of the planning board. We have absolutely no time giving you whatever time you need. Extending the written comment period to January at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I feel more comfortable speaking to him. He's not here tonight, but I mean,
Well, I think everything he's going to do, Ross, they're going to need it written anyway, so we'd have to write it up anyway, so he can write it up, in that way. I think that would be, the way that it happens anyway, because they're going to have to get it in writing in some way, and then respond in writing.
so just help me break it down. How long do we have to get it in writing?
That's what we're deciding right now.
That's the date we're setting now.
Right.
I would suggest, you don't want to set it at 30 days because that puts you in the awful week of.
Yeah, no, it's got to go into January. Yeah.
I would suggest
60.
not 60, that's.
Ross,
Let's put it to January 15th, which is the Friday. Any objection to that? That gets everybody back from holiday vacation.
And then they still have to respond after that. That's for everybody in the public to make comment.
I mean, the Monday.
Oh,
Right,
hold on.
and that's what they're saying.
Ross, what do you think you need?
What's that?
What do you think you need, sir?
The 15th and the 12th.
we're trying to be convenient. How long do you think your consultant needs to finish his review and
Give the
put it all
comments.
in writing?
I think he'll be okay with January 15th, if that's what you're saying. I think
Okay.
we can make that work. That gets us through the holidays and
Right.
start it, finish it in the first couple of weeks and get it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think you're the most, the closest neighbor and the most concerned there with all that, so.
Andrea raises a very good point, make it the 16th, this 15th is Martin Luther King. I don't want to have any arguments that something.
You get an extra day.
All right, thank you, I appreciate it. Thanks, everyone. Thank you so much.
Andrea's on the ball.
Right,
Nothing
okay.
like the hand delivery and Village Hall was closed.
So what we're going to do, we'll need a motion to close the public meeting and extend the comment period to January 16th.
16 or 15?
16th.
The 15th is Martin Luther King and it's a holiday.
Okay. I make a motion to close the public hearing. And secondly, written comments are expected from the public no later than January 16, 2024.
Thank you.
Okay, seconded by Member Kelly. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Carries. So, perfect.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you, everyone.
Nice holidays.
You too. Enjoy.
And Rhonda, I am going to put together a quasi-public notice that can go on the website.
Put your jacket on.
And it should
Wow, I
be
ate too much this day.
in an abundance of caution, we'll publish it.
Got it.
Okay?
When you get it to me, I'll do what you,
Thanks, everyone.
Okay.
Thank
We'll
you.
see. I'll give you a call too, Russ, about that other thing there, yeah.
All right, great. Hey, happy holidays.
Yep, you too.
Thank you.
Sorry I didn't get enough time in there, Sean,
Yeah, no, we're always, yes. Don't put a waste.
Yeah, give yourself an extra 20 minutes on the clock, It's a...
Thank you.
All right, I'm good. Have a good one.
that empties out rooms fast.
Sorry it's late.
Barbara.
No worries. You got here in time for what you needed to do, so.
She was only here for this. She's leaving too. I know, right?
We have to move on.
Yes.
Okay, thanks so much. So next on the agenda is Ramapo Street Office Building. I don't believe David Mock or anybody is coming in. We have to.
Justice from David's office.
Oh, you're here for that? You don't need to.
I don't think we're presenting anything.
No, you're not. I don't think so. Okay.
Just here to babysit me and make sure I do.
Making sure it happens.
Isn't Verizon
Yes.
next on the agenda?
Is it?
Verizon's next up.
I'm sorry. I skipped
Verizon,
over it. I
yes.
skipped right over it.
Don't keep me in order here.
I'm sorry, my fault, completely. I scrolled down too far. I take that back. So Verizon is next up on the agenda.
So, tonight, as we discussed in our last work session, the purpose of, and all these resolutions I'm gonna read tonight have been uploaded to the OneDrive. Yes,
I
it's early
noticed
today,
that.
but they are on the OneDrive.
What do you need?
Don't we have to go into our normal meeting now?
You closed the public meeting, so we're back in the meeting.
Yeah. You open the meeting, open public hearing, close it. Now you're back.
We don't open it, okay?
Yeah.
I thought we opened it again.
Only if we go to an executive session.
Okay.
Okay. So the purpose of tonight is one, we need to declare lead agency, and two, schedule a public hearing. I did prep a resolution, that I'll read into the record. It is on the OneDrive. Whereas the Village of Monroe Planning Board is in receipt of an application by Verizon Wireless of the East LLP, DBA Verizon Wireless for site plan and special permit for the construction of a small cellular antenna approximately 6.5 feet tall to be affixed to the top of a 43.5 foot tall wooden pole with an 8 foot by 8 foot fenced equipment enclosure. That's a typo. And that's going to say at St. Paul's Church on Still Road. Is the one that I uploaded to OneDrive got that typo?
I don't know, let's take a look. Oh, I don't know why it's not coming up on the TV.
Okay, I'll fix it. Whereas a short environmental assessment form, EAF, dated May 10th, 2023 was submitted. Whereas after comparing the thresholds contained in 6 NYCRR 617.4 and 5, the planning board has determined that the proposed project is an unlisted action pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act. And now therefore be it resolved that the planning board declares itself to be lead agency for purposes of seeker review and further declares that this is an unlisted action. Be it further resolved that the planning board shall hold a public hearing on December 11th, 2023 at 7 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the application may be heard at Village Hall, 7 Stage Road, Monroe, New York, 10950. Be it further resolved that the applicant shall be required to transmit public notice in accordance with the Village of Monroe Code. And then I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I've copied,
Notice public.
I've copied and pasted the requirements from our code into that resolution.
Okay. So basically, this is to set the public hearing and to,
And I'm sorry, be it further resolved that the application materials shall be transmitted to Orange County Department of Planning pursuant to GML 239, because it's close enough to 17.
yes, but we're not doing a 239 tonight,
You
are we? Oh, we are, so that was, okay, so you boots that all that together, okay.
Yeah.
Yep, all right. So we need a motion to pass that resolution.
I'll make that.
Member Iannucci, and second? Member Kelly, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Opposed? No one?
And I'll
Resolution carries.
fix that typo. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry, who's the second?
It was Member Kelly.
Okay,
So on the agenda, the Monroe Woodbury Islamic Center is on, but they're not.
they're not.
So-
The applicant is, I did speak to the applicant. We had previously at our last regular meeting, scheduled them for the public hearing on
Right.
December 11th. They're in the process of doing their public notice. There was no need for them to
Right.
appear on a technical basis. My understanding is the two engineers have an informal technical meeting tomorrow to discuss those.
Stuff.
Those items. They did ask, as you are aware, they're racing the proverbial clock, as they say. They're racing the proverbial clock because there may or may not be action on the places of worship local law, which would likely impact this project. Given the timing, they have asked, and I am running it since they're on the agenda, I might as well ask now. They have asked that I draft a conditional resolution, so to have it kind of ready to go for discussion. Normally and I'm happy to do that. My only major concern with that is I can draft it. Normally I'd like to discuss those, if we were in a regular month, we'd have our work session, and we kind of know where things are going. We can draft it, and you see me typing and editing as I go. And then depending on the public hearing, we could be in a position to take action the night of the public hearing. I'm not suggesting we have to, but we could be. I'm happy to start that process, and we can certainly add conditions as we go. You can also, if the room is packed and there's a line out the door, obviously all bets are off in that case. So I just, since it's on the agenda and I have a moment to speak on, I would just ask your preference in that regard.
I would, my own preference, Elizabeth, I would prefer not to do that, only because I do think it will be well attended, although I thought tonight was going to be well attended for 208. So I'm a little shocked too.
They're still talking in the hall, which one is it? Back to them.
No, he said we can keep it.
He said we can keep it.
Okay, just make it.
Yeah, no, we asked him. We didn't steal it.
Oh, I thought it was an inadvertent.
Yeah, and I think, just as a matter of protocol and so forth, with other people, other developers, their eyes being on it and everything else, you know, if we had something pre-done,
Okay.
yeah, I'd prefer no,
Okay,
personally.
fair enough.
So,
All right, but they will be on, they have their notice.
Yep.
Rhonda sent their notice to the paper today, so that's
Yes.
that's rolling.
yep, they're on for the 11th.
So we will have 2 public hearings on the
No.
Monday, the 11th.
We will.
Oh,
We'll
yeah,
have Verizon
that's
and
correct, that's
Monroe.
correct. Verizon will be there too. I was
Verizon.
thinking 208 when you just said, no, we didn't continue it.
Oh, no.
But right, yes,
208 in Monroe.
208
Correct.
and the Islamic Center.
Yep.
yes, that's right,
Well, okay.
yes. Okay, so
Who's next?
Ramapo Street,
Jesse, you here for that one?
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
But he's just hanging out with us, because this is just a, unless he wants to complicate it and add something more to it.
Okay, so
Because he's got the next two
Yeah, so
projects.
Liz is going to read another resolution
for
to,
the purpose of this, this application is by no means ready for
Right.
public hearing, circulation, anything like that. Mr. Namako has asked that we declare lead agency so that he can
Get the ball rolling.
circulate. I can do that. He and I disagree. I think he needs to do the traffic study. I'm going to put this on record. I think particularly the traffic study needs to be done now.
yes,
And not just send an empty, a application with what we have to DOT. I think the traffic study needs to be there as well. And I would start that now rather than wait for DOT to give comments. So I have typed up, and it is in OneDrive, and it's in draft form. Whereas the Village of Monroe Planning Board is in receipt of an application by Route 17M LLC for site plan approval of a new 2-story office building and associated improvements to be located at SBL 220-4-1. It doesn't have an address because it is a vacant lot. Whereas a short environmental assessment form, EAF, dated September 29th, 2023, was submitted for review. Whereas after comparing the thresholds contained in 6 NYCRR 617.4 and 5, the planning board has determined that the proposed action is an unlisted action. See 6 NYCRR 617.5C8. Don't quote me on that. Don't quote me on that. Pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act, now therefore be it resolved that the planning board hereby declares itself to be lead agency for the purposes of seeker review, and further declares that this is an unlisted action. That be it further resolved that the planning board hereby elects to conduct an uncoordinated review pursuant to 6 NYCRR 617.6B4. Be it further resolved that a determination as to the significance of potential environmental impact shall be rendered upon receipt of sufficient information as may be required by the planning board, including but not limited to traffic, wetland, stormwater, floodwaters, and habitat. And the reason I put that is, seeker puts it, once you declare lead agency, technically you have 20 days to make your determination from when you make your determination or when you receive what you reasonably requested. So we have not received what we reasonably requested, so our clock hasn't started.
Right.
May I have that motion?
So motion to approve the resolution.
Make,
Member Kelly
I second it.
and Member Umberto seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution carries.
And I'll send that updated resolution. I just want to check that site, it's fine.
Okay.
Okay. 30 Carpenter's that next.
Yes. So 30 Carpenter Place, that's also David. So this is a resolution to declare lead agency and set a date for public hearing.
Correct.
So Elizabeth, if you would read that into,
Whereas the Village of Monroe Planning Board is in receipt of an application by Proponents, did I say that right, Valley LLC, for amended site plan and special use permit approval to allow for construction of an expanded patio and trellis. Whereas a short environmental assessment form, EAF, dated August 31st, 2023, was submitted for review. And whereas after comparing the thresholds contained in 6 NYCRR 617.4 and 5, the planning board has determined that the proposed project is an unlisted action pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act, SEQR. And now therefore be it resolved that the planning board hereby declares itself to be lead agency for purposes of SEQR review and further declares that this is an unlisted action. Be it further resolved that the planning board hereby elects to conduct an uncoordinated review as set forth in the SEQR regulations 6 NYCRR 617.6B4. Be it further resolved that the planning board shall hold a public hearing on January,
what's the January date, the
it's
second
gonna be
meeting?
the 23rd, right? Fourth Tuesday?
I gave you the draft
Yeah,
of it. I don't
fourth
have it with
Tuesday.
me right now.
The 24th. That's part of the hard part about scheduling public hearings at this time of year. We haven't approved the schedule, but fourth Tuesday is the 23rd.
23rd or 24th?
Not read my calendar, hold on. 23rd.
It's 23rd.
And if we change the date of the regular meeting, I'll adjust the resolution before I submit it. The intent is the regular meeting, the January regular meeting. Or as soon thereafter as the application may be heard at Village Hall, 7 States Road, Monroe, New York, 10950. Be it further resolved, the applicant shall be required to transmit public notice in accordance with the Village of Monroe Code. Again, I have included copy and pasted
Right.
notice requirements directly into the resolution.
Okay, so if you're happy with the resolution, we need a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Member Hefnecker, and second.
I'll second.
Member Iannucci, seconded. All in favor? And opposed? Resolution carries.
Can I ask a question?
Shirley?
I want to go back to what Ross was saying.
Yeah.
Before you, because Jesse can leave, can I
Yeah.
say one thing to him before he leaves?
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. Jesse, 30 Carpenter is in arrears on their escrow. I'll be sending you a letter on Thursday. If it is not paid, it will not go on the agenda. So the public hearing would be canceled. So it's in your best interest to get me that check.
Okay, is there a certain date you need it to be refilled by?
I'm gonna say, because we need to do notices. Our regular meeting is the 11th, December 11th this month.
It's the only meeting. It's a regular
the only
end.
meeting
Right.
because of the holiday. I need it refilled by the 11th, because if not, we're gonna cancel it at the 11th. Okay, so we need that escrow up. brought up.
And I'll have it out to you on Thursday.
Thank you.
Good, okay. So ahead, Barb.
Everything Ross said.
Yes.
Was on the money.
Yep, I agree.
Have you seen, do you know where the playground is?
Have a good night.
Thank you.
The playground
Yes.
for the special needs is here.
Yes.
We're not gonna have a conversation with the applicants,
Right,
not here. Hold those thoughts,
Oh,
write down those thoughts.
Right.
You're welcome, we can have those discussions. The applicant has,
yeah, you gotta do it when the applicant's
yeah.
here.
So, I know you're anxious to talk about it, we're gonna hold all those thoughts, you're gonna write down all your thoughts, because remember, you get to comment too as members of the board, even outside the public hearing.
And I would say
Well, my
this,
question to you is, can we, what he's saying, make that viable? They have to adhere to that?
Well, that'll be part of our review, so, and I'll say in broad terms, because again, I don't want to talk about specific projects, particularly when the applicant has left the room.
right,
Right.
Anytime a public hearing and with any, so we have a draft document, a draft EIS. The applicant will incorporate this comment, any other comments that they receive, right, into, they'll make changes to the document. We'll go through those changes, yes, we like them, no, we don't. That whole process that, and just as with a site plan, somebody, you say, hey, we don't like that, they go make a change, you're like, oh, that's even worse, or whatever that may be. We will have that, process. At the end of the day, once all those changes, once we get to a place where we've agreed to all those changes, those, essentially what is the final environmental impact statement is the response to comments and any major supplements. Hey, they commented X, and our response to X is we have done this, and this we've added this, or we've subtracted this, or we've moved this.
so Barbara, with any application, and this is for all of us, right? Any application that requires a public meeting, the public meeting is intended for this very thing, right? For an applicant to come and say, hey, we have these concerns, whatever they are. And they may not be, like the board may not catch every concern because we're not living next to a place or we're not doing whatever. So you want the public involved that way. So when they do that, then that comes in, it gets reviewed by our professionals and by the applicant. The applicant answers all of those things. Our professionals review what their answers are and say, we don't like your answer, or this satisfies this concern, or whatever.
And the DEIS is a huge document.
Yes.
But I do
Monstrous.
encourage you to go through it. The consultants, Natalie's obviously, or Natalie and Sean are looking at it in depth, and the reason Natalie's not here is for babies due in a week.
I mean, a week, what kind of excuse is that?
It's not today, yeah.
So
Well said by the man.
Natalie has transitioned it to Sean because the project will continue in her maternity leave, so, she might have made it tonight, apparently she's still working in the office.
No, Natalie's been doing a great job, really.
So Natalie's reviewed all of the engineering and technical stuff, Andrew's reviewed the traffic, but other things you can review, and like, for example, I was reviewing today, my comments are finalized, is for more of a layperson. For example, the executive summary is supposed to really be a discussion for lay people to understand. And if you reading this and you go, wait, what? I want that question, because we need to then clarify the document to answer that question. There are a couple, one of my comments is going to be silly, is there are a couple of acronyms, and I'm going to go, define your acronyms, because what does that mean?
Right.
So, and that could just be, and there's less legal for me, so I'm not necessarily reviewing this from a legal perspective. I'm leaving most of the technical review. I'm not going into, the nitty-gritty of geotech. That's not my expertise. But I'm more focused on, from a lay perspective, do the summaries. I don't know what the traffic report says. It's a bunch of figures with a bunch of numbers on it. And that's Andrea's job. But if the summary of the traffic report doesn't make sense, you need to say, well, this doesn't make sense.
Right.
So that's where you, as planning board members, can review the DEIS and make your comments. And again, let us know those comments so that we get those to the applicant, and the applicant can address them.
So there's no problem with us saying, that
Yeah,
person
that's
has a
your
good
job.
point, and he did, okay.
That's your job.
Right, that's the point.
That's your job.
That's why we're here.
All right, because, he was right on everything he said.
And sometimes people don't think, they may come back with responses that are like, oh, that solves that problem. We'll do this. Oh, that solves that problem.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
You know, the queue is a prime example. We had lots of people jumping up and down, screaming and yelling. One guy came up and said, I live on that street. I want to be able to get in and out of my driveway when there's construction. Oh, and the applicant said, well, we'll, do X, Y, Z, and it was made, so the problem is, he identified a problem which the applicant and the boards.
Right.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
All the documents are on the Village of Monroe website. And the library and in the office. So if you want a hard copy, more than happy to give you one. If you want a jump drive with the files, I'll give you one.
Okay,
Like, whatever you want.
all right.
Because Ross, I gave him a jump drive with all the files. Because he's like, those are really big documents and I need to get it to my engineer. And I'm like, okay, here.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
I'll get you the notice so we should go on the same spot on the website. Under the project.
Projects, yes.
Anything else from the board? At all? Okay, we just need a motion to adjourn.
I'll give you that. Motion to adjourn.
All right.
Do we have minutes?
I don't
We
see any.
do.
Oh, we do?
You are correct, yes, you went a little too fast there. And it might not be, they're on the OneDrive, they're just not on the
They are on
agenda.
the OneDrive, yeah.
Frig. Sorry, they're October's.
We're meeting in 2 weeks, just table them.
You
Yeah,
can
we'll
do that.
Second motion to adjourn.
All in favor? Aye. See you later.